Hi everyone, my name is Julia Reinhardt and I'm just demoing the application for the final project for full stack web development CS157. So right here I have my final project with React, the folder, and it's organized into two folders. I have the back end and the front end. So the back end has the things for the database and the front end is my React application. So I already CD'd to get there in the terminal with the back end and the front end. So if I just do node index.js, the back end starts. And if I just do npm start, then the React application starts. It's a little bit different than Angular with the codes, so I'm just using it how you do it for React, and this is how I learned to do it with React. Okay. So if we go to the home page of the application, we see just, bootstrap styling and a logo. Not much there, but at least it looks nice. And then you can go to the shop page. And then in the shop page, in the sidebar, this is the sidebar I created. I used Bootstrap for this. At first I tried Google, but Google had some that were very complicated. And the one right on the Bootstrap documentation was super simple, really easy to implement. So that's the one I did. And then here is the price filtering. So if I filter it and just do like not that expensive, you'll see a lot of wheels show up for the roller skating shop that I built. And then I used the MERN stack for this. So I used MongoDB, Express, React, and also Node. Yeah. And then as you can see, we can filter again and try more like expensive items. And then if I do something very small, let's see. Let's do this one. I have it set up so that it will be bulletproof and it'll show no items found. So no items found. And then with the database, I created it with myself with MongoDB. I have it right here. And so as you can see, I have the items tables. I'm really familiar with SQL. I've taken a detailed class in it here and I've done very well in it. And so for Mongo, it was pretty similar to SQL. It's just when you have a lot of data, they do more of the document model versus like joining tables. But it was pretty easy to catch on to because the application is pretty straightforward and simple. So, like for one table, it's pretty similar creating a table in Mongo versus SQL. So here are the items that you see on the search page. So you have the link and that's how you get the photo to show. You set it to the source and you have all of that there. And then also users, I've created some users and we'll get to there in a second. So basically, as you can see, I disabled the add to the cart button when the user is not logged in, and I just used a badge that says please log in to add items to the cart. So we can go ahead and do that. So if I go ahead and log in, if we don't have an account, we can register here. So that's what we're going to do. Register here, and then we'll put myself as an account, and it says user successfully registered, and right when it registers it goes right back to the login page. So I just used a timeout for that and an alert to show the status. So if we go ahead and log in, login successful, same thing, a timeout, and then it goes to the shop page. So it's very convenient so the user is not just like hanging there. And now that I'm logged in, as you can see, all of the badges disappear. And we have add to the cart buttons that you actually can click. So we're going to add, I'm a brand new user, I shouldn't have any cart items in the database. So I'm going to add 3 items to the cart. I'm going to add this one, and this one. And then if I go ahead and go to the cart, there should be 3 items into the cart, the 3 skates that we added. And here you have these items. Now, if I log out, and I log back in, since they're saved to the database, those items are still going to show. So I'll log out, and then it says the cart is empty, log back in, and A, C, 2, 3, log in, and then it shows, if we go back to the cart, those items are still there, and they're still there again because I saved them to the database. So if we go to the users, let's see. Oh, let me refresh. All right. So if we go to the users, there's the cart, and it's an array of 3 items. And there you go. You have each of the items in the cart, and they have the title, price, and quantity in the cart. Okay, and then also, as you can see, just like we did in our assignments with the remove button, there's a remove button here, and it's just using a list just like we did in class. So if I click remove, it updates the UI automatically. And same thing, refresh the database, and there should only be 2 items in the cart now. Yeah, 2 items. So it and you see the skates. So array of 2 items. So it gets updated, and same thing, log in, log out, it gets updated. So right now I have a total right here. It shows the available balance, and I can just proceed to the checkout. And there it says purchase successful, and then you're going to see the balance is going to change. So it should be about like $820 something. Okay, there we go. So the balance is changed and the cart gets emptied. And if we go to the database, same thing. The balance is changed. And when a user signs up, I defaulted it just for simplicity to make that balance $1,000. So they could spend like a good amount if they wanted to. And if we're at the shop, something over here, when they're not logged in, you can see that there's just the badge. I tried doing a tooltip for this, but it was a lot of work to do with Bootstrap, to do the tooltips library. So I'm going to have to research more on that, but probably after I turn the project in, just so I don't waste too much time. Yeah. And then, for logging in, I implemented it with tokens. So when you log in, actually what's going on in the code, if I go to login.js, let me see, in the source, components, and then login.js, there's the library I used to decode it on the front end, and this really is a token that you're getting from the JSON Web Token library. So that was really useful so that we can keep track of which users are logged in. And yeah, so that's pretty much what it does so far. And then I wanted to go okay, and so now for the question, since that's pretty much it for the demo. Let's see. What did I learn from this project? I think the number one thing that I learned, besides the technical skills like React, Mongo, Express, and Node, would probably have to be that for engineering, smaller bites are easier to chew. So you take like a really big problem and you just break it up into smaller pieces. Because this application, I started probably like in the 4th week of class, I started this application. And it was a lot. And so I went to the most complex page first to start, and I just started working on the shop page. And I had it way more complicated than what it is now, with a bunch of like searches, filter queries. So I definitely simplified it a lot. to get it done. Um, and that's probably one of the biggest things, just breaking it up and um, also not overworking myself. That was a really big thing because I noticed with when you study computers and engineering, I can work like, say I work like 16 hours and just nonstop on this like every day. I can get to maybe like day five, and then by day five, it's like I need a 3 day break or longer, and so it actually hurts me. So, really setting limits with myself as to when I'm gonna work on it, how much time I'm gonna spend, and making sure to take breaks because it was really overwhelming, um, especially because I designed it all. Anyway, question two: what challenges did you face and how you overcame them? The biggest challenge I faced was teaching myself React because we didn't learn it in the class at all, and so I was completely on my own, and I was really overwhelmed. So basically, to learn React, it was a lot of like a mental game too, with like fears, anxiety, because I've heard it was so hard to learn, and how I overcame him? Well, I just tried. I went to YouTube, and that's where I started to learn React. And then I realized, because I had a plain JavaScript application, and I needed to convert it into React, which was a big of a huge, like such a big learning curve. And I had way more functionality in the plain JavaScript application, but just converting it into React, I had to simplify things a lot. And at one time, I didn't even think I messaged the teacher and I didn't even think I was going to be able to do it in React. I thought I was going to have to switch to what we were learning in class, Angular JS. But then the Angular JS code from class, the examples, didn't run on my computer for whatever reason. And I was already, good amount started with React. So I was like, well, I'll just keep going. I'll just keep trying, and see. Um, Besides YouTube to learn React, because a lot of the examples were very simple on YouTube. It was too simple to learn React specifically. So I actually went to the documentation, react.com. And the nice thing about that site that I really liked is there's like an overview section. So you can just read only a little bit, like how it works, get the gist of it, learn that it's divided into components, and that's the biggest thing. Um, to just get started and create your first page before you even add functionality. And that made the biggest difference for me was the documentation. And also finding examples online, like with Google, that I could just run and study them. Simple enough, but not too simple, like not just a static website, but an actual functional page. And then for React Router, I just learned it with YouTube. That was enough for me because I was just doing simple things with React Router to change views. Um, and then also, something I learned was React is actually very complex. That part was really hard. And then also the JSON web tokens was very frustrating for me and very hard. I think because in class we did JSON web tokens, but they were not um, really hard assignments for me, I'll be honest. Like when I was doing them, I was understanding them on my own and it was really easy. But then to take that knowledge that we learned in class and then apply it to my own endpoints to get the first name, get the balance, update the balance for a user. That was very frustrating, and I had to take breaks on that too. And I reached out to the professor. I also have a few friends that are also studying computer science, so I ran my code by them. No one was able to help me, but something I really learned is when you talk through your frustration, and it really helps because you're studying your code in a different way. And so that's what I was doing for those endpoints. I was studying the code in a different way. And so let me see if I can find the endpoint routes users. So I was studying the example code we had from class in a different way, and I overlooked this completely right here, that I can just update the user based on the ID or get the user based on the ID. And when you decode the token on the front end, you already have the ID. So that was a huge thing that I learned.